Waseem, good morning to you. It's always a pleasure speaking to your agency. Such an incredibly important month for your agency as well, but also for youngsters in South Africa, and a way to highlight just how youngsters are taking on South Africa and taking on the world, isn't it?
Yeah, Gareth, thanks so much. I think June 16th, the Youth Month, is a moment for commemoration, and indeed we celebrate those young people who are inspired by the generation of 1976. But it's also a somber moment when you reflect on the events leading up to that fateful day, and indeed the entire month in the student uprising and the lives that were lost during that period of time. But also how it inspired a revolution in South Africa's history, you know. And I think if we look now at where we are in terms of the pandemic and numerous other socioeconomic issues that we face in the country, it's an ideal time to continue to draw inspiration from that generation as we navigate these challenging times in society.
It does come off the back of, while we, of course, Waseem, look ahead to 16 June and what that day means for the youth and what it means for the country, but it does come off the back of the very worrying unemployment numbers in South Africa. Never mind the overall unemployment number, that's shocking at the best of times, but also the youth unemployment in this country. So when we say we want more opportunities for the youth, it sounds like wonderful window dressing, doesn't it? But it's simply not happening, and there doesn't really seem to be a very clear idea of what that means and how we make that happen.
Yeah. So I think you're 100% correct, Gareth. Our unemployment numbers and our youth unemployment numbers really are a shame to our democracy. You know, the fact that so many people have to live through the indignity of unemployment is unacceptable in South African society. I think President Ramaphosa and his administration have made unemployment a core focus, but they've made youth unemployment a particular focus. This was driven through the establishment of a project management office in the President's office specifically to deal with this issue. Around SONA 2020, the President announced the Presidential Youth Employment Intervention, which is one of the more comprehensive interventions aimed directly at young people and accountable to the Presidency for implementation. Now, one may ask what has been achieved by this intervention in the year that it's been in operation, right? If we look at, for example, phase 1 of the employment stimulus, just implemented around October last year, you saw a massive program to employ 300,000 young people as teacher assistants and general assistants as part of a learner support program in the Department of Basic Education. You saw support for young people through support to the early childhood development sector, and support to young small-scale agricultural farmers. So already there's been a huge amount of support that's been provided to the sector, right? We say approximately 600,000 livelihood opportunities of young people support. Of course, when you compare 600,000 to 8 million young people, we're still scratching the surface, right? But in the build-up to June 16th, we believe that the President and the Presidency will make key announcements in additional measures to curb youth unemployment.
Waseem, let me come in there, Waseem, as we look ahead to those announcements and pronouncements by the President. The last minute I have with you, I just want to hear from NYDA, National Youth Development Agency. What are you guys going to be doing this month for what's going to be Youth Month?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of campaigns running. So you sort of touched on it, but the Trailblazers campaign, we are really calling on South Africans to, if they know an ordinary young person doing extraordinary things in their lives or in their community, to please nominate them so we can recognize them publicly on June 16th. I think obviously we know that we're still in the midst of a pandemic, but June 16th will be celebrated physically in Sundusu municipality in Pietermaritzburg. And we look forward to that, and we expect, like I said, some major announcements. Yeah, and to keep checking the NYD website, we've published what we call a Youth Month Geek Guide, and young people can find access to information and access to events happening closest to them as part of that Geek Guide on our website.
It's always a pleasure speaking to you, and all the best for Youth Month. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of organisations doing great work for Youth Month. One of those, of course, is the National Youth Development Agency. Waseem Carima joining us here on the South African Morning.